Welcome to A Work in Progress.
A work in progress.
Aisha.
With eyes on fire, I'm blinded to the sun. My senses tell me my day is never done.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
This is a very special A Work in Progress.
It's a work in progress.
It's been a while since we've done one.
I can't believe you didn't even acknowledge my amazing. You know what? You need to acknowledge how wonderful, and by wonderful I mean like enthusiastic, of a singer I am for our theme song. Because every time I do, you just move on. You don't go like, wow. You don't. There's no standing ovation. Nobody throws, like nobody lighters, no panties got thrown on stage. Like I'm just disappointed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was going there, but I wasn't given an opportunity to finish what I was going to say.
Okay. I need immediate results.
I was going to say, it's been a while. I didn't know if you were going to do it, and you did it so well, it was like you didn't miss a beat. That's what I was going to say, but I didn't have a chance.
Cut the part where I got mad at you, and then you just go to this part.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm like, our trip, we're going to talk about it. We're going to thank the amazing people of Winnipeg. It was fantastic. And it was good because I came home and I was exhausted. And, I had an event last night. I have a show tonight. So I'm just like, you can see the little bags under my eyes here.
Someone had an event last night.
I had an event last night.
It
was a friend's happy divorce party.
Oh, so, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That can be an event.
It was an event,
Yeah.
I got dressed up. I left the house. That's an event to me.
That's all it takes for an event these days is putting on pants and going to the mailbox. It's an event.
How are you? Yeah, we're back for everybody who doesn't know. We're back now.
Yeah,
in LA.
we're back in LA. I'm very similarly. I'm tired. My body is still a little sore from dancing.
Yeah.
My left knee, that's my surgery knee, is like fully swollen up. So I've been I was fine until I think sitting on the airplane, like it really ballooned, and so
then you get cramped up and
yeah. So we've been like icing and trying to get back into full emotion mode. But I am doing great.
Was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The dancing or the trip?
Both.
I think it was worth it. The one thing that I was most excited about was just to kind of see you in your element and meet your friends and, spend a little bit of time with your family. That was so worth it. And everyone was so nice and, just everyone said that Winnipeg likes to have a good time. And I got to see that in full, get the full experience, and it was 100% worth it. So I appreciate you inviting me along this little journey.
I like you say that like like I had a show and I was like, hey, Jonathan, come along. I'm like, it's literally our little brainchild.
It is ours, but at the same time, I was like, when we were planning this, I had asked you several times, and I'm like, are you low-key famous in Winnipeg? And you're like, no, it's not a big deal. No, you are literally Winnipeg royalty. Yes, you are. I'm going to need you as my friend. Yes, you can be humble about it, but I need you to own it. Like, you are Winnipeg's own. Everyone, but especially you and your brother, right? Like, people know who you are. So
I think part of it is like sorry, go ahead. You feel free to keep complimenting me.
No, I was just going to say, like, the second day, I'm sorry, I'm making up for what I didn't do right on the song.
And thank you, I'll take it. I think that part of it is growing up with my brother, Ismaila Alpha, who a lot of people everyone in Winnipeg knows him, but a lot of people throughout Canada know him because he was a musician. He still is, but he used to tour. He was an athlete. He was just like an all-around cool guy. And then he had this, and still has this long radio career with CBC, which is like our NPR in Canada. And so growing up as little sister of that, I think I'm always like, oh, my brother. Right. And then, and then I started doing things. And I remember one point where my brother said, like, someone called me Aisha's brother today. And I was like, oh my gosh, dear diary, it finally happened. It was like, I have a name now. Right. But I think I just grew up with this mentality of like, everyone knows my brother. And I'm this sort of like, the younger sister of the famous brother. So it's very funny when to hear you say that. I think that's why I'm laughing and like shaking my head, because it's just not how I see it. But yeah, you are right that like people know me in Winnipeg because it's a smaller market and I've done a lot of things there. And Winnipeg's like, I think it's also because we're really proud of our Winnipeggers. And so, like, I love to come home because I'm proud of my city, and it's a beautiful feeling to feel like my city's proud of me. So that's always nice.
Yeah, no, and I got to see that in action, and it was very warming to just, I know you're great, but to see other people who also see you as great. And I mean, and we've talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this in past episodes, but yeah, sometimes, especially when you're producing shows, but not all the shows you do here in LA are great, or sometimes they feel like you do so much.
LA's a hard market.
Yeah, and so to see someone be so fully embraced by her hometown, like literally the hometown hero comes home and everyone comes out to experience the show that you put on for them, and they were also excited to talk to you after the show, and it was everything from like your family came, your teachers, like your childhood teachers, like all your friends that on the dance floor, like they would come up to me and I'd just be like, how do you know Aisha? They're like, oh, we used to play marriage to our teddy bears when we were in third grade. Like that was like, that to me was, it's so telling about someone. Like I already know this about you, but it's like doubling down on like, the way people see you is when they're like, oh yeah, we went to kindergarten together. And like, and now I still am coming out to her comedy shows because I care for her and I love her and I just want to experience the stuff that she's doing. I don't know if I would have that. Like I was sort of thinking about that on my ride home. I was like, I just lost touch with a lot of people that I went to elementary school with. And, we moved kind of schools a few times. And I was just thinking like, when we do this in Atlanta, when
we're coming for you, Atlanta.
I was just like, ooh, I wonder which of my childhood friends I still know.
I feel like it'll probably surprise you because I always feel like, I think here when you put on shows in LA shows convince you you're a loser, right? Because it's like, I don't know anybody, no one's gonna come out. Like it's like so hard to sell tickets, it's so hard to market it. It like feels draining. Then you put on a show, and then you're like, great, now I just have to do that again and again and again. And when you go home, I think especially if you're going to your hometown, like I have this feeling like, oh, I hope people come out. And it, like Winnipeg is notoriously like we like to buy tickets late for things. We like to like last minute decision makers. And so we were talking about like how many tickets were sold like a few months out and then like closer and closer. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope people come out. I hope Jonathan doesn't think I'm a loser when he comes. And there's like 3 people in the audience. But then it's like, I feel like you don't have to always keep in touch. Like all those people that were there, I don't talk to them every week. You know what I mean?
Sure, but, absolutely.
I see them every once in a while, or we like connect on Instagram or something like that. And then it's so nice, I think, for them and for you to like reconnect in this way. And then like bring your talent. Like I think when we take this to Atlanta, here's my prediction. You're gonna feel a little bit nervous because that, just like everything, it's like there's a lot of expenses to put on a show like this and the kind of thing. But then when we get there, it's gonna be so heartwarming, and people are gonna come out of the woodwork, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this person is like someone I knew from when I was 12 or like whatever. And then it's just like a hometown party. It's so, I'm like, that's why I love going home to Winnipeg. Winnipeg is always Winnipeg. Like it's not. It's not, it changes and it shifts and it adapts and stuff like that, but it's like, it's not going to change. It's not going to all of a sudden not be friendly. It's not going to all of a sudden not be people who like to come out and have a good time. Like there's just this like energetic culture in Winnipeg that is amazing. And like, is kind of part of the thread of who I am. That's why I'm always like, people say like, I'm a former Winnipegger. I'm like, no, I'm a Winnipegger who is living here and this is my home now. But like, I will always You can't take that out of me,
Representing the 204.
Yeah, baby. Peg City, which I know you were like, what?
I'm the only one who thinks that's funny. Like, I was talking to the comments in the back. I'm like, you guys don't make jokes about Peg City? And they're like, nah. I was like, oh, I'm a child. Okay, great.
Oh man, no, but it was a good show. It was fantastic. We had good turnout. I wanted to make time to make sure that I know we have lots to talk about, but like to thank, get our thank yous in that we talked about. I know I feel like I brought a Debbie Downer energy, but what I'm really saying is, yay, Winnipeg. Thank you to everybody who came out to the show, to the Truth or Dance show. Thank you to our big time sponsor, Keener Jerseys. You looking for a world-class jersey? Hit up Keener Jerseys. Also our backstage beer friends, Good Neighbor Brewery and Bookstore Brewery. They brought us some booze for the backstage. And also our comedians, Mike Green, Jordan Wellwood, Emmanuel Lamuro. If you don't know them, check them out. They're amazing. And of course, you can't have a Truth or Dance without dancing. And you can't have dancing without music.
DJ, the real Cheddar.
K Cheddar.
I guess it's just K Cheddar. Yeah.
Yeah, K Cheddar from Tempo Collective, who was on the ones and twos from like 7 until 12.
Yeah. She put in work. Thank you so much, Carly. I know you, that was a lot probably, but you were, it was so great.
Yeah. Oh, and also JP Media Works, who came and did our videos and photos. Hit them up if you have video or photo needs. They're fantastic. Shout out to Darnell Collins. Maybe
we will go into a little bit more detail on a very special secret episode we're going to do. But there was moments where I was like, oh, I'm the only single guy on the dance floor. Like a lot of the guys were like with their wives or maybe their girlfriends or their partners or whatever. And I was like, cool. And then like I was doing my own thing. Like I was enjoying being part of the dance circle, but I wasn't necessarily trying to dance with anyone. But there were moments where I was being pulled by a person to be like, come dance with me. And it wasn't, it wasn't like an ownership sort of thing. I didn't feel that. They just wanted to dance with me. But I was like, oh, there's not enough single men out here for all the ladies. And it was
you had to do like a speed dating of dancing with all these
100%.
Like, oh, time's up. Great to see you.
Time's up. Oh, thank you for the dance. Thank you for the dance. Yeah. It was. There was times where I was like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And again, like it wasn't like no one was like, why aren't you dancing with me? But it was just sort of like I'm gonna sit and like just chill out for a second. But Darnell was out there.
Yeah. I mean, he knows how to cut a rug too. So.
He sure does. Yeah, absolutely. And then I don't want to make sure we don't miss anyone. I mean, your parents put
shout out to Misha and Papa A.
Yeah, I mean, giving me and feeding me. Oh, we ate. Oh, we ate so good.
I mean, that steak the first night we got in, a big old steak, some asparagus, a little bit of red wine. They don't mess around.
The honey garlic chicken.
Yeah.
And I got the recipe.
I know. It was like my mom was very adamant. Like we were almost late for the show because my mom needed to get this recipe to Jonathan before we went to the show. Like you were going to cook it for everybody? I don't understand.
And not only did she need it, I wanted it. I got it. I was like, I cannot wait to make this recipe when I get back to the US. When are you making it?
Yeah, you gotta take a picture and send it to my mom.
Yeah, absolutely will. That's funny. And then, of course, the theater. We had a great show. Yeah. Had a great show. It was a very beautiful venue. So who knows? We might be back.
Baby.
Next weekend. I'm kidding.
A lot of people when we put up the poster for Truth or Dance, and then when we've been like posting these little kind of like short, tiny little videos of some of the dancing, the impromptu routine that Emmanuel and I did, which was not rehearsed. Everyone's like, that must have been rehearsed. It was not. But so many people, it really is. So many people reached out to me and were like, oh my gosh, when is it coming here? Like people in Toronto want it, like just like around Canada. I think someone somewhere else in the States was like, when is it coming here? So like, it's a fun concept. That's really fun. I mean, here's my moment now to say like, if you guys want this show to come to you, reach out. We would love to bring this show to you. Yeah, get us some money to come on down, baby.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that's a good little segue because it has been a moment since we've been doing, we've put out a new podcast. And so thank you for everyone who's like, where's the next episode? Aisha and I have been spending, I think we've been very intentional to talk about like, what is it that we're doing and what do we want the podcast to be for our listeners, for ourselves. And so it's not that we haven't been, we've been planning is essentially what I'm saying. We've been planning. Yeah. And I think for me, seeing Truth or Dance happen has like even, the ideas have even started to explode even more and like how the two potentially like work and feed off each other and whatnot. So, so like, especially for this, like not only did we want to say thank you for everyone who came to the show, but we also want to let the people who listen to the show, who like the show, we want to let you guys know that we haven't gone anywhere. And we'll continue to do our little talk podcasts and funsies and whatnot. And yeah, but really looking forward to as well as like, how can we go to more places? And,
yeah, you know, there was an article written by the Uniter about us and about the show, and they interviewed Jonathan and I separately, which felt very much like an interrogation. It was very funny, but one of the things that they talked about in there was like how this show, our live show, Truth or Dance, the comedy show and dance party, it was kind of like it's this physical, in-person version of our podcast in a lot of ways, where, you know, it's the two of us hosting the live show, it's two of us hosting the podcast, and it was really like this beautiful meld of funny. We're comedians, we laugh together, we laugh a lot, we're like, you know, great friends, like, so we laugh a lot, but there's like more to it, there's some heart, there's some vulnerability. And it felt to me like, oh yeah, the live show of Truth or Dance is really the physical manifestation of a work in progress, where it's sort of the like fun entertainment in person version, where it's the same elements, it's the same ideas, you're going to hear the same sort of tone and feel and intentionality, and then you come to the podcast for your daily dose of that. So I'm like, I don't know, I agree. I feel like it's like it's all in symbiosis with itself, and we got. I feel like there's some big stuff coming. Big stuff. I feel
like you use a big word I didn't understand. Symbiosis.
Yeah, Simba, like the lion from the Lion King. Everyone who wrote that song is like rolling around in their not dead person graves, but just like a live person office chair right now because of that song that we just sang.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything the lead head touches, it is ours. No, yeah. So I yes, and to everything you just said. So what we're gonna do. This is something we've never done before. So we have a Patreon. I think if you've listened to the podcast, you probably have heard us talk about it. But something I think we're going to continue to do, but we're definitely going to do it at least once. We're going to give you guys maybe the full behind-the-scenes experience of our trip to Winnipeg over on our Patreon account, which is...
So if you want to hear the stories of... Let's just give them a little teaser. Let's just say Jonathan and the Bumble app.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're going to hear about... You know, how that may have backfired on me a little bit.
Yeah. You want to hear about that?
We might talk about that. We might talk about, you know, who was on our flights. There were famous people on our flights.
Famous people on our flights. Did we talk to them? We'll talk about that on the Patreon.
We talked a little bit about how we talked to maybe you didn't, or how they were sitting in first class and we were in the back of the airplane. I don't know. Yeah, so we're going to do...
behind the scenes.
And also... We'll probably just talk about other stuff because that's just what we do when we talk. So
how it works.
Yeah, so that's going to be over on our Patreon account. There'll be a link, but also it's patreon.com/AWIP podcast.
AWIP podcast.
Yes. All right. So,
but thank you guys. Yeah, we love you all so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for laughing with us. Thank you for growing with us. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. And we'll catch you on the flip side. I feel like that's such a cool saying, but no one ever says it, and I really want it to come back. Catch you on the flip side.
I'm using it may not work. We'll do it next time. I found an option where I can add sound effects.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah, that's how our show ends.
Old school slapstick. All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you at the Patreon, and we'll see you at the next live show and on our next podcast. We love you.
The area I lived in didn't have a lot of diversity, and like there was one eligible black bachelor for all of the women in our area. One. Just one. And it was my brother. So he would not date me. I tried. I asked him out a lot.
I think I just saw a roach crawl underneath this stage. It's the last day. It's gonna be okay. If you were in open-toe sandals, I don't know. You might have HPV. I don't know.